She married a millionaire ghost without knowing the love that was born from silence. Hello, my dear dreamers. Welcome. Today, I want to tell you a story that begins with a question you may have already asked your heart. Do you believe that true love can travel through time and even death? Imagine feeling invisible your whole life and then, suddenly, inheriting a world of luxury. But to have it, you must marry someone you've never met, only to discover that he is no longer among us. Prepare yourself for a story that blends the coldness of wealth with the warmth of an unlikely love, capable of turning the bitterest tears into the sweetest hope. Before you hear this story, with an open heart, answer in the comments. Do you believe that love can conquer even death? Subscribe to the channel now and ring the bell, because here you'll find supernatural and spiritual romances that touch the soul and leave an eternal mark on the heart. For Jia, life was a series of closed doors and indifferent faces. Having grown up in orphanages, she was an expert in loneliness. She never knew her father, didn't remember her mother. Her only proof of existence in the world was a crumpled envelope with a birth certificate, a yellowed piece of paper she carried everywhere. On days like Father's Day, the pain became almost physical. As she walked the bright streets of Gangnam, in Seoul, she saw families laughing, fathers hugging daughters. The luxury shop windows displayed a universe of belonging she never had, and her reflection in the glass looked like that of a ghost, even while she was still alive. On that cold night, as she huddled in her tiny room, the unexpected didn't knock on her door, but arrived as an official letter with an imposing seal. A lawyer informed her that an unknown millionaire named Minwoo had passed away and, in his will, left his entire fortune to her, an inheritance that included a mansion in the mountains. The shock left her breathless, but the condition was as bizarre as the news. To claim the inheritance, she would have to participate in a private, ancestral ceremony. A posthumous wedding, a spirit wedding with the deceased. To marry a dead man. To Jia, it sounded like a horror story, but what choice did she have? Wasn't her life already a kind of haunting, a lonely and meaningless existence? With nothing to lose and, perhaps for the first time, with a spark of curiosity about the future, she accepted. The journey to the mansion was like entering another world. Winding roads climbed mist-covered mountains, until imposing iron gates opened, revealing a landscape of dreams and melancholy. Gardens of white roses, covered by a thin layer of snow, jade statues that seemed to watch her arrival, and frozen fountains that sparkled under the weak winter sun. The mansion was an architectural masterpiece, with corridors that echoed silence and crystal chandeliers that hung from the ceiling like frozen tears. But the luxury was cold, and the silence heavy. From the very first step, Jia felt it. Something or someone was watching her, and she was right. From the ethereal plane, floating through the corridors that were once his, was Minwoo. In life, he had been a prodigy, a CEO who turned his family's company into an empire. But power isolated him. His life was a schedule of meetings, business dinners, and superficial relationships. He lived in a glass dome, surrounded by luxury, but dying of loneliness. He never knew what a sincere hug or a selfless love felt like. He died in a car accident, alone with the regret of never having truly lived. Now he was trapped in that mansion, his soul condemned, unable to rest in peace until he learned what love was. And then he saw her, this simple girl, with eyes that carried the same loneliness he knew so well, entering his home, becoming his bride. On that first night, as Jia huddled under the silk sheets, the wind whispered her name. The cold she felt wasn't from the window. It seemed to come from within the walls. In the vase beside her bed, a white rosebud slowly bloomed on its own. From the main hall, a soft, sad melody echoed from a grand piano, even with no one there to play it. Jia didn't know it, but this was Minwoo's way of saying hello. He, who never knew how to express himself in life, now used the world itself to communicate. The symbolic wedding, a formality for the lawyers, was an awakening for him. For the first time, Minwoo felt a purpose, to protect this lonely soul. In the days that followed, the mansion became a refuge for Jia, and the strange phenomena, a comfort. When she felt cold, the fireplace would light itself with tall, dancing flames. If she fell asleep reading on the sofa, a cashmere blanket would magically appear over her shoulders. When she cried softly, missing a family she never had, the piano melody would return, gentle and comforting. Minwoo was learning to love, and Jia, who had spent her entire life feeling invisible, finally felt cared for, loved. She began to talk to the house, to the presence she affectionately called her guardian angel. Without knowing it, her heart, which had refused to love for fear of being hurt, was falling deeply for a ghost. If this story is already touching your heart and making you believe in the impossible, please leave a like and share it with someone special who needs a little magic. Do you believe that true love can come from where we least expect it? Comment below. And if you can, please consider supporting our channel with a donation. The link is in the description, and every bit of help allows us to create more stories like this. One day, guided by intuition, Jia explored the immense library. Behind a portrait of a man with the same sad eyes as Minwoo, she found a hidden safe. Inside, there were no jewels but a journal. It was letters. Letters written by Minwoo to a son he was forced to abandon in his youth, before inheriting his fortune. The words revealed a man broken by regret. He wrote about the simple love he longed for, about the desire to trade all his wealth for a single day with the son he never knew. Jia read every word, and her tears stained the pages. His loneliness was no different from hers. For the first time, she didn't just love the care she received, but the tortured soul of that man. "I'm here, Minwoo," she whispered into the emptiness. "You're not alone anymore." And in that moment, she felt him closer than ever. But their love, blossoming between two worlds, was a race against time. Every act of kindness from Minwoo consumed his ethereal energy. He grew weaker, more translucent. The portal to the next world was closing, and he had to make a choice. To leave for the light and let her go, or to stay trapped forever as a shadow in that mansion, fading until he disappeared. And Jia felt this farewell approaching. The piano music became rarer. The flowers in the garden began to wilt. The mansion, once full of signs of affection, was growing silent. The choice was taken from his hands. On a stormy dawn, lightning struck a wing of the mansion, and a fire started. The flames spread quickly. Jia woke up to the smell of smoke, trapped in her room. The fire blocked the exit. In that moment of terror, Minwoo made his decision. With all the strength he had left, with all the love he had learned from her, he did the impossible. For 3 seconds, he materialized. Not a shadow, but the image of a man, cloaked in a soft light. Jia saw him, her guardian angel, beautiful and sad. He didn't touch her, but she felt his invisible hand on her wrist, guiding her to a secret passage behind a bookshelf. As his voice echoed in her soul, not her ears, "Live for both of us." By saving her, he used his last spark of energy. The bond broke. Outside, as she watched the mansion that had been her home burn, Jia knew he was gone. The mansion, now in ruins, held only the silence of a goodbye. Months later, using the inheritance he left her, Jia started over. She opened a small cafe in Seoul, decorated with white roses and old photographs of places she dreamed of visiting. It was a tribute to the ghost who taught her how to love and live. On a rainy day, the bell on the door chimed. A customer entered, shaking his umbrella. His face was identical to Minwoo's. He didn't remember her, didn't remember anything. It was a reincarnation, a soul given a second chance. But as their eyes met, they felt an inexplicable force, a recognition that came from a place much older than memory. A silent new beginning. The universe, at last, gave them a lifetime where they could touch. If this story made you cry, believe, and feel that love can travel even through death, subscribe to the channel now for more romances that touch the soul and remind us that happy endings are sometimes just new beginnings. Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain? A meeting, a dream, a feeling? Let us know in the comments. Maybe your experience is also a story of eternal love. And if you can, please consider supporting our work with a donation at the link in the description. We are immensely grateful for every gesture. Thank you for sharing this moment with us. Remember, true love doesn't end with death. It just changes form and always finds its way back.